News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. I get to talk to Jesse Huila one more time tonight, and it is always fun. He is one of the meteorologists at WFAA TV Channel 8. By the way, Jesse, thanks for joining us again one more time tonight. I always appreciate you coming on the show. You're a riot. You laugh at some of my jokes. Others you don't, but that's okay.
What?
All right, my friend.
Come on.
I love your picture. There's I don't know. Sometimes people say, like when you have a profile picture or something that shows up when somebody calls you or vice versa. I have one of you. It just comes up. So it's like whatever you may have put there. Sometimes I have stuff there. My friends are like, I didn't put that there. I'm like, whatever. But it's you next to the Bucky Beaver guy. The Bucky Beaver dude.
Oh. You know what? I didn't know that was set that. I know exactly what picture you're talking about.
That's the funniest thing in the world. You're a riot, dude. I mean, I already knew that.
That's so crazy.
Yes. So it's you posing with the Bucky Beaver above you, and I think you look better than the Beaver.
Oh, you know what? I've been told, and I've been told I set that bar pretty high. I'm looking better than the fictional Beaver. Thank you for that.
You're welcome, sir. Now, I once took down a whole bag of beaver nuggets, dude. That was fun, but not on the way out. But anyways, that's another story. Okay, Thursday storm. Before we get into the forecast and everything about your professional opinion on the forecast and also on what we need to look out for and such over the next 48 hours or so, the Thursday storm could join a list, supposedly, of the DFW's biggest snowstorm. Says one news story, not from Channel 8 though, but this makes me look a little worried here. They got the February 2021 snowstorm. They got the 2011 snowstorm and the 2010 snowstorm. Talk to me on if this literally could join one of the biggest DFW snowstorms. That's a little scary sounding.
It could become one of the better ones. It really could. May I say though, of course, a lot of folks have said. Now I've heard people comparing this to 2021, and what I've found is I've had a lot of viewers come to me and they get, I guess you would call it kind of PTSD. A lot of people are actually really scarred by what happened there. So
yes.
This is not like that at all.
Right.
Okay, because what happened in 2021 was a statewide, every single county in Texas was under a winter storm warning, and the freeze was way deeper than what we're seeing.
I saw it, Jesse. I saw there was like a -2. And
yes.
I mean, what the heck? So yeah, so talk to me about that. So it's that the differences are.
The differences are we're not going to get nearly as cold.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be above freezing the next day. That back in 2021 we was about 190 roughly hours consecutive below freezing, and it was way down there.
That's insane, right?
Yeah, it's that's the fifth longest ever on record, and it was it was so far below freezing that's one of the biggest problems, and it was again statewide. This storm system bringing North Texas a wintry mix, but even parts of North Texas will stick in rain. So people down in Corsicana, people down in Hillsboro, they may see more rain than wintry weather. They'll get some wintry weather. They'll get some wintry mix, but this is not like 21.
Yeah, that's because I'm like, well, actually reading through this was exactly what you said. 129 or whatever the exact number was of consecutive hours below freezing. It was sustained and it was deep. And that was just unbelievable times, my friend. Absolutely unbelievable times. So tell us when we can expect stuff to come in, when we should avoid driving if we can. Talk to me on all that over the next 48 hours or so.
Absolutely. So I was actually, funny enough, before you called here, I was looking through some of the latest data. I don't really see any big changes right now, so that's a good sign that forecast consistency is back on track. So tomorrow morning, we're going to wake up. A lot of folks will wake up. There's going to be nothing going on very early on in the morning.
Wait, could you say that again? There's going to be what going on tomorrow morning?
Nothing.
Yeah.
I emphasize that for one reason.
Right.
Some people think they just snap and then boom, there's a winter wonderland outside.
Yes.
You're not waking up to that tomorrow morning. That will be Friday morning.
Okay.
So you wait, but tomorrow morning, around 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, we'll have a scattering of some sleet, some snow, maybe a little freezing drizzle there mixed in. And then as we go throughout the morning, it'll start transitioning to more of a wintry mix for areas along and north of I-20. And the heavier snow is expected to be along and north of US 380. That's where it's going to be mainly snow. Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington, it's going to be a bit of a mix where you may notice throughout the day it fluctuates. Okay, mm-hmm. As we get into the afternoon, you may have a period of in the afternoon, early afternoon, it's sleet, snow, a little bit of freezing rain. Then it may transition briefly to a period of rain. And then as we head into the evening, it starts to transition to all snow. Okay, so that's when we'll see some heavier little bursts of snow, and that's when we'll get the bulk of the accumulating snow. Will be Thursday night.
Thursday night when I'm driving home after what time Thursday night? Like 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock?
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks pretty messy, and then the heaviest snow will be around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock,
mm-hmm.
And it looks pretty impressive, and it'll linger through the overnight too. Even at midnight. 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, we'll still have snow showers.
Wow.
So when we wake up Friday morning, we'll have a pretty nice, it'll look nice. It'll look pretty. Not something you want to drive in, but that's when the winter wonderland will be. It will be Friday morning.
So, and then basically, it sounds like we should anticipate, because we know most schools, if not all, that we're aware of are closed tomorrow, from what I've heard and read. But also, it sounds like Friday, we probably would expect schools to be closed based on what you're seeing in the weather. Just guessing here, of course.
Yeah, I fully expect that. So I think the closure tomorrow was in anticipation for the drive home from school being a problem.
Yeah.
And then I think Friday will be closed because of the drive to school. So, yeah.
When we're talking about tomorrow night with the heavy snow coming in late, does that also, will we have to be worried about ice beneath the snow tomorrow afternoon into the evening and overnight?
Yeah, we will. So because of this wintry mix scenario, and because some of the snow will melt, and because we're going to have some rain mixed into the equation in some, during some periods of the day. The problem is tomorrow night, our low will fall into the middle 20s by daybreak Friday.
Uh-oh.
Okay, that's well below freezing, and that's enough to cause, certainly, if, let's say the roads got cleared, there could be a layer of ice under the snow, and then there's a possible refreeze from whatever melts Friday on Saturday morning. So that's the other thing we're worried about, is some black ice Saturday morning.
Okay, so the threat is, do you think the threat will probably be over with by Saturday day?
Yeah, I think by Saturday afternoon, we expect to have a high like in the low 40s, upper 30s.
Oh, yeah.
So that, and that's just enough to, especially for heavily traveled roads, to really kind of erode whatever's left over. And we'll have sunshine too. So that'll help a lot.
Jesse,
so things will get a lot better.
Can you tell me, by the way, WFA TV Channel 8 meteorologist Jesse Huila, what direction is the storm coming from? Because I read something today. I'm like, is that right? It's going to hit the rest of the country. Is it coming up from the south by southwest, or is it coming up from the north? Coming from the north? Where's this coming from, by the way?
So I was tracking this energy last week. Even I've been keeping an eye on it.
Wow.
There was this little disturbance back, several days ago. It was off the coast of Oregon and Washington, and it dove to the south, and it moved into northwestern Mexico, and right now it's bringing snow to New Mexico.
Wow!
So the upper level low is actually sitting over parts of northern Mexico right now, and that will track along the Gulf Coast tomorrow and Friday. And the remnants of this will move through parts of the southeast and then into the mid-Atlantic and even parts of the Midwest. We'll get some parts of central Illinois and Indiana. We'll get some snow.
So it is heading north by northeast, I guess, or something of that nature, I guess. Okay. See, yeah. By the way, one more thing. Weather always seems to come from, at least most of the time, our weather seems to come from the south by southwest. Is that accurate? Is it always coming from there, or is it just sometimes?
Yeah. Typically, our storm systems come from some sort of westerly direction here where we live in the mid-latitudes of the northern hemisphere. So we live in the westerlies, as they call it, and so a lot of our storm systems will come from a westerly direction, whether that's southwest, sometimes even northwest, or due west. But yes, they do. Yep.
Two more quick questions, Jesse. It always seems like Fort Worth gets hit. Tarrant, Fort Worth gets hit the worst, and also some Denton out of that versus Collin and Dallas. Is that accurate? On weather in general, like the rain, the sleet, but I'm thinking about the hail and damage, or is that not accurate?
It's interesting. We're like the hail capital of the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's like hard to get insurance anymore because of that. There is that. Honestly, it can hit anywhere, and we have found as of late some of the bigger hailstorms, especially, have been kind of north of Dallas and Fort Worth. But I think back just as soon as 2019, and there was an EF3 tornado that went through North Dallas.
Yes.
If you remember that one.
Yes.
So, it can happen anywhere.
Yes. Oh, now, last thing real fast, I promise. What is your thoughts on, we're seeing the horrible storms, just because I have a meteorologist who knows his business. What's happening with the weather over there? I know you're not a California meteorologist, but what are your thoughts on just what we're seeing unfold over there with the Santa Ana winds and all that stuff?
Terrible. Man, it's so terrible to see the images. It's horrific. I have family that... my sister-in-law lives out in that direction. She sends me pictures of the horizon. She lives kind of in the Los Angeles area.
Yeah.
It looks like apocalyptic.
Yes.
But, humans cause a lot of problems with this stuff, whether it's, land management or throwing out lit things and sparking fires.
Right.
So that's, we could be better about that kind of stuff, but it's just horrific. The winds have been so ferocious out there. They had high wind warnings where they had winds of 60 to 70 miles an hour.
That's insane. That's the Santa Ana winds? Is that what that is?
That's exactly right. So it takes, if you can imagine for a moment, just even a little bit of a fire just being completely blown sideways by these 70-mile-an-hour winds, it spreads fast. And there's a lot, if you've been out that direction, there's a lot of dry fuels for these fires to take advantage of. So it's just a terrible situation.
And I'm seeing, by the way, that literally out of 10, one of the LA reporters said he asked the firefighters, they were tapping the what do you call it, hydrants, and they said, how many of the hydrants, he's like, we're out of water, we can't even continue on this fire that we're fighting wherever they were. And he says, so he asked them, how many of these fire hydrants out of 10, how many of them work? He says 1, as far as have water. This could be unbelievable. I just figured, since I had a meteorologist on who knows his stuff, the Santa Ana stuff. So, Jesse, we really appreciate you. You're a lot of fun, and look forward to having you on again in the near future. Heck, maybe we'll see if you can come on tomorrow if your schedule fits, brother. Okay?
Anytime, brother. Thank you so much.
There he goes, WFA TV Channel 8's Jesse Huila, meteorologist. He is the bomb. Thank you, brother. There he goes. News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. By the way, coming up next, driving. We have not Texas, but we have Thursday storm could join. No. I'm sorry. I got this one right here. How to drive on ice and snow from the Star Telegram. I have so many pieces of paper in front of me. I want to get into that. I want to talk about your thoughts on people driving in this horrible weather that's coming, and your recommendations for them and what you do. And we'll see what the Star Telegram tells us to do and if it's wise or unwise. All that next. Lines wide open, 800-288-WBAP. Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. First time driving in ice and snow in Texas? Follow these tips, says the Star Telegram. 1,300 people killed. Around 116,000 injured while driving on snow, slush, ice every year. Here's what TxDOT recommends. Slow down. And I want you to call in with your driving tips, and I want you to call in with your biggest pet peeves of people driving in this bad weather we're about to hit. And I will tell you tomorrow on the way in and the following day on the way back, I will have a lot to say from what I see. I mean, who knows what we'll see, but there it is. Slow down. Speed limits are based on normal road and weather conditions, not winter conditions. I mean, this is obvious, right? Captain Obvious. Don't go the speed limit. You want to drive for conditions. What's one of the things they have if you get a ticket sometimes? Driving too fast for conditions? That's because the conditions might mean you drive 20 instead of 60 based on the conditions. Maintain at least 3 times the normal following distance on snow or ice. How many people are doing that? 3 times the distance. So they said that usually what you do is typically 3 seconds behind the vehicle in front of you. Remember that? 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. I did that pretty fast. So they're saying do 6 seconds behind. What does that mean? That means you have to let people keep passing you, getting in front of you, and let people keep going around you, keep not cutting you off, but going in front of you, and you have more and more people. You got to keep going back and back and back. But that's what you do if you don't want to get hit. I really don't play games when the weather is bad on the road. I don't. I will go. Oh, this is a huge pro tip. And I think they mentioned this in here. I don't know for sure because it's been a couple hours since I read through this and highlighted it. But I will go on the most traveled path when I'm driving and there's ice and snow. Go on the most traveled path. The lanes that are worn through are much better because you see people going through the non-worn in lanes, and you're hitting clumps of snow, clumps of ice, and stuff like that. That means it can spin you out or hit you, and you could spin out. I mean, if you hit the wrong clump of snow the wrong way, anything can happen. Go on the ways that are often traveled where the paths have been worn through the snow and ice. The ice will still be there, but the snow won't. And that's the safest. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I'm going to give you more of these tips from TxDOT. We'll talk about the most annoying things that you have seen and your biggest pet peeves when bad weather strikes and what your advice is for people. We're going to talk to Lawrence in Plano coming up next, plus your call. 4 lines open, 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Crazy. We have, I guess we have good timing. Grant Cruise with Oncor joining us right now to talk about the power situation and what we can anticipate in the next 24 to 48 hours and what to look out for, etc. Grant, thanks for joining us tonight on the Chris Crock Show on WBAP.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's crazy timing because I saw this thing flash across. There was a fire in an electrical substation in Fort Worth. What can you tell us about that as far as from what you know? I know it seemingly just happened.
So I know Oncor does have personnel on the scene. We have been working with the fire department. All customers that were impacted by that outage have been restored and rerouted.
Nice.
So everybody's got power back on. At the last I heard, the fire department was waiting for a little more support before moving in. But like I said, I'm not at the scene, so they might be in there now.
But the fact that the power's been rerouted already is fantastic. That's great.
Absolutely.
Okay, so tell us, Grant, what's your outlook for right now? I know you're not the meteorologist, folks, but for Oncor right now, what is the outlook for today, tomorrow, and Friday into Saturday? What are your concerns, and what are you expecting to happen as far as power and issues that might come with that with the severe weather?
Well, from what the meteorologists have been telling us, it's looking like there will be some winter precipitation moving in to northwest, central, and east Texas, starting tonight and continuing through Friday morning. The heaviest winter precip will occur tomorrow. We're expecting some snow and mix of freezing rain and sleet. And so that's kind of what we're looking at from a weather standpoint.
Well, how does that affect you guys, your operations? How could that affect our power abilities in the cold next 48 hours or so?
Kind of a wintry mix moving in. It's concerning. Ice can increase the weight on tree branches by 30 times. Half an inch of ice accumulation on a power line can increase the weight by 500 pounds.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, I mean, it's concerning, but as we see where things are developing, we're starting to pre-position crews and create some staging sites around the Metroplex. So we have, poles and spare transformers, cross arms, things that our crews can move in, get their trucks loaded up quickly, and then move into the neighborhoods wherever they're impacted.
Talking to Grant Cruise from Oncor, right now, no power outages that I'm aware of, and I'm sure you're not aware of any other right now. I'm not hearing anything. Can we anticipate issues as far as you're aware, or is it more like a wait and see based on what happens with the weather?
It really is wait and see. There may be some isolated outages just when you have the temperatures dip to kind of freezing levels for the first time. You can always expect some kind of impacts due to that. But it's important for people to understand that, we're not looking at a situation like we had back in 2021 when we had kind of a sustained freeze that got down into the single digits. This storm is very different. It looks like it's going to move in and move out, and we're looking at lows in the 20s. So still concerning. We're still going to have, all hands on deck, but that's kind of what the forecasts are modeling right now.
One more thing on this too, like the number one cause it tends to be, from my understanding, you're the expert, not me, but with power outages, is people's trees on their property either getting weighted down from ice or just limbs in general that aren't trimmed back from power lines. Is that the biggest threat of power getting out here? If, like you mentioned, it was there's twofold. It's like the ice on the lines can have 500 times, you said, or 500 pounds of weight. All that, yeah.
Yeah. So, it adds extra weight to our lines, which, our lines are built to handle extra weight. When you do have a freezing event that can bring down limbs and trees, that is somewhat of a concern, especially, in recent weeks we had some heavy rain events around Christmas, and then so you've got some initial ground softening that happens with that, and then a high wind event earlier this week. So some of those root systems get compromised on seemingly healthy trees, and that can bring down limbs and trees, and so it is our vegetation management folks work year round on maintenance cutting, and but we do see some impact.
I have told people over and over again on my show over the years that you really need to, if you have any tree limbs anywhere near the power lines or touching them, you need to call Oncor. Some people don't like that, but that's the number one reason, if I'm not mistaken, of power outages was limbs hitting the lines. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it does present an issue. Our main message to customers is always put your safety first. Call in an expert to do an evaluation and to handle that kind of trimming. We don't want people trying to do that themselves and getting hurt.
What's the time to call? Like, how close is it to the line that you guys will come in? Not on the property, obviously. When it comes from the main line onto your property, that's your business, right? With your arborist. But when it's the line that carries power in your neighborhood or through your alleyway, that's when a tree might be touching it. And when's the time to call? Like when it's really close, or when it's touching it, or what?
Well, that can be kind of subjective. I mean, there are trees that look like they may be coming too close, and then there's other times. So we tell people just reach out anytime you're concerned. But getting a tree expert in there to kind of balance that safety, but still keeping the natural beauty of your neighborhood, that's always the best best advice we can give people.
Grant, Cruise of Oncor, I thank you for coming on tonight, man. I know you got a busy next 48 hours.
Yeah, thanks for talking with us.
You're welcome. Talk to you possibly again soon. Hopefully we don't have to, right?
Yeah, you know where to reach me.
Right. That's exactly right, sir. Thank you very much. There he goes. Encore. Now, I didn't get a chance to get into the driving. I want to do that next. We have a bunch of driving tips, and I want you to tell me what is the biggest pet peeve you have of how people drive in the snow and the ice that we're about to have. And we're going to talk to the National Weather Service in the next hour or two to get a up to the minute forecast for you. We're hoping to do it about 10 o'clock-ish. But so we'll get to driving coming up next. Will you be taking Governor Greg Abbott? He requested that we stay home if you can, actually, to this afternoon. So will you be taking Governor Greg Abbott's request to stay home if you can? Will you actually be taking that advice and applying it? And also, how do you drive differently in bad weather? Particularly in bad winter weather, I mean to say. And do you drive for a living? Are you a trucker, delivery, Uber guy or gal? And what do you see that makes you so mad and frustrated with people when it comes to this bad weather that's about to hit us? And what do you wish people would do when driving in winter storms here? And where are the worst roads to drive on in a winter storm? We're going to talk about that coming up next, and I'll give you the tips as written out by the Star Telegram today for driving in the bad weather that we're about to start experiencing tomorrow. I think it was about afternoon? Yeah, tomorrow afternoon is when it's going to hit the fan, if you will. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. This is the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Driving in the pending or oncoming bad weather. It'll hit about the early afternoon tomorrow. You will now wake up to a winter wonderland. I'm quoting the great Jesse Huila, WFAA TV Channel 8 meteorologist, who's joined us twice earlier on the show. We're asking you about driving. Will you be taking Governor Greg Abbott's request to stay home? Will you be taking that in an advisement and staying home? And how will you drive differently? How do you drive differently in bad winter weather? And do you drive for a living? Are you a trucker, delivery guy, Uber? What do you see that makes you so mad and frustrated? And what do you do? What do you wish people, I should say, what do you wish people would do when driving in winter storms here? Where are the worst roads to drive on in a winter storm? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. My biggest pet peeve is seeing somebody in a truck that thinks they can go fast and flying by. I mean, you do what you want to, but don't hit me. And that's a great point that somebody has made on this show the other day, and somebody's made to me in person as well in the past 24 hours. It's not you and how you drive, it's how other people drive that can make your life absolutely miserable. And then here's my biggest thing. If it ain't my fault, I don't want to have my insurance company say, well, or I don't want to have to pay out of my pocket if you hit me because you're an idiot. And I think it gets fuzzier when it's really bad outside. So I just, Lauren in Richardson, you're on WBAP. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, it's Lorene. I'm sorry. Yeah. Go ahead. Hi, how are you? I'm good.
That's okay. No, I'm interested in hearing about the weather and driving around. I've lived in Michigan for the last 30 years.
Okay. You know what that's all about. Where in Michigan?
Grand Rapids.
Okay, that's going to get hit hard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It took me about 10 years to learn how to drive in the snow. But what I learned is snow and ice are two entirely different monsters.
Yes, they are.
You can navigate snow if you're careful and thoughtful. Ice, you look at the ice rinks, and there's a reason they have a Zamboni. But there was something that I wanted to put out because it's a little bit personal for me. My younger daughter works in Glen Rose and said, my boyfriend's coming out with his pickup truck with four-wheel drive, and he's going to drive me to work tomorrow. And my younger daughter didn't have a chance to learn how to drive in the bad weather in Michigan. So I said to her, what's he got waiting down the back of his truck? She was quiet for a minute. And I'm like, well, does he have sandbags? And She said, well, what are you talking about? And I'm like, B, it doesn't matter that that's four-wheel drive. If that back flatbed truck is empty,
right,
you might as well have him drive you to work in your little Impala. You'll be safe.
Or in like a Corvette or a Mustang.
Yeah. But you know what? The one other thing that I would really like to say with my experience is driving slower is very important, but additionally is not accelerating or braking quickly. You have to do it very, very gently, as if you have an egg underneath your accelerator and brake that's not cooked.
Look at you. You're getting technical. You're good. One of the things, too, I thought about that I have specific annual memories of this here is when I'm always assuming that there's black ice on our bridges and overpasses. And that means I'm going to slow down. It's not going to be tonight because there's no precipitation, but it's going to be, and it's so misleading because not last night, but the night before, I'm seeing it and it looks like there's, you know what I'm talking about at night, where there's a sheen off the road and it looks like there's water on there or ice, and you're like, dang, you can't tell. I cannot tell. But I tell you this, when I go up the ramps and stuff like that, I'm holding that steering wheel tight, and I'm also just coasting. Particularly, though, when I go over some of the bridges, and we need to remember this, too, like there's parts on all of our highways where you're going, for example, 75 heading northbound, when you go by Medical City area and there's other areas there, you're literally above. There's underpasses below you. There's the different, roads going under you. That means you're basically elevated. Right. What that means is you basically are on a bridge. And so when I go over those parts, I am literally just, and I read this in the advice for driving in the storm from this article that I'll get into a little bit more in a second, but that you do not push your gas down, you do not push your brake, and you do not do anything. You just hold steady when you go through something that could be ice. Because if you try to move anything, you try to brake, you try to accelerate, you're toast. You're flying. You just go through it and you hold steady. You don't do anything. Accurate?
Yes. Like I said, snow and ice are different monsters. Snow is manageable.
Snow's fun.
Unless you have a Zamboni.
Right. Snow is fun. I'm not going to do it here because it's a different environment. Go in Minneapolis years ago when I was there doing a talk show, coming from Chicago originally. I was kicking around, having the tail spin around, not totally around, but I'll kick it out left and right a little bit right on the highway. No one's around. You're having fun, But the ice is a totally different thing, and I'm with you 110%. Listen, I appreciate your call, Lauren, and good advice to your daughter and good advice to all of us.
Good. Have a good night.
You too. Have a great night.
Everyone be safe.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
We will try. Lauren, thanks. Laureen, excuse me. 800-288-WBAP is our number. That's 800-288-9227. More driving advice, and I want to hear from you, too. Where are the worst roads to drive on in the winter storm? And what do you wish people would do when driving in the winter storms here? Do you drive for a living? You a trucker, delivery, Uber driver? What do you see that makes you so mad and frustrated? Or are you just a driver like me? And what makes you frustrated when you see people driving, doing some stupid things on our roads? And how will you drive differently in bad weather? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. The advice from the Star Telegram, slow down. Don't do the speed limit. Do what the road conditions are. Maintain at least 3 times the normal following distance for snow or ice. So if you, instead of doing the 3-second rule, you do a 6-second rule, apparently 5 to 6 second rule. And I will tend to do that, really, when it's bad, because I don't want to hit somebody. And I don't want to be the idiot that hit somebody because I was being an idiot. Stay at least 200 feet behind snowplows. That is such common sense. Stay back from the snowplows. Use extra caution. Okay, here we go. The bridges. I'm going to pause it right there. We're not even halfway through on the advice for driving in this stuff. Oh, my gosh. There's another one, too. Like, what do you do when your vehicle starts to slide? I'm going to tell you this. If you need to have a description read to you, if you need to read a description on what to do if your vehicle starts to slide, then you really shouldn't be driving in winter stuff. I'm not being pompous. We have 3 lines open. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3.